First, we're going to share with you Ariana's actual numbers selling on Etsy during her first month, including her revenue, her cost of her product, all the Etsy fees, everything, and her final profit.
Second, we're going to talk about how I did it, so the process that goes behind getting your product on Etsy.
Third, we're going to share with you the biggest mistakes we both made when it comes to selling on Etsy, and these are some really personal, kind of scary things to share.
And at the end of the video, I'm going to share my #1 tip for selling on Etsy.
We're also going to compare Etsy versus Amazon because Ariana has one product that she sells on Amazon and she's made over $50,000 in sales on Amazon. The product she sells is called Vino Cards. It's basically wine information in flashcard form. It's like a fun wine game. And she created this product. There was nothing else out there like it. It's a really unique, interesting product. But let's talk about how do people get on Etsy in the first place?
So it's a lot easier than you would imagine. You simply create an account on Etsy, and if you have sold on Amazon before or you've heard, on Amazon there's a little bit more of a longer process to get your product on there. You have to be approved, you have to pay a fee. That's not the case with Etsy. So I created an account for my Vino Cards shop, and you set it up very similar in the sense of adding photos, the information about the product, and a little bit here and there of what they ask from you as a seller. And then you pay about a 20-cent fee to get started, which is very little. And then you launch your product. You'll mention how many sets you have available, and your shop is live. It doesn't take that long.
And so I know you launched your product live on Etsy November 5th. So let's break down the entire month of November. How much revenue did you do?
For the month of November, in revenue, I made $133.
So that's great, but as always with business, there's a lot of other costs, fees, different things. For selling on Etsy, I know they charge a fee once you make sales. How much money did you pay in those fees?
Yeah, so based on the $133 in revenue that I made, the fees were about $14.
Now, one downside with Etsy versus Amazon is you have to pay for shipping because with Amazon, they have Fulfilled by Amazon. I mean, you still have to pay the FBA fee, but with Etsy, you're actually going to the post office and you're paying for the shipping. How much did you pay in shipping for the month of November?
So for November, about $40.
And I know there's another fee as well, just like a miscellaneous transaction fee or something. How much did you spend on that?
So that was very little too, it was about $7.
On top of all these other fees, there's still the cost of the product because making the product isn't free. How much did you spend to pay for all the products that you sold during the month of November?
For the month of November, I sold about 4 boxes, and each box cost me about $6 to make. So the cost was about $24.
So in total, how much profit did you do for the entire month of November?
So for November, it was around $45.
Which is cool. I mean, this is an extra source of income. You were already selling on Amazon. You were able to make an extra $45. How much in revenue did you do in the month of December?
So December being the holiday month, it was a lot more popular. My revenue was around $200.
Not a lot more popular, a little bit more popular. So instead of 4 boxes, I think you sold around 6 boxes?
Yeah, so 6 boxes, but I think it was much easier to promote the product on my social media because of the holiday coming up.
Okay, but then again, we have all the different fees and transaction fees. Let's start with what's the first fee?
For fees, it was a little more, it was $18.
And then there's also shipping. I think during December you had some international shipping too?
Yeah, so that cost a little bit more to send those labels, and that was about $50.
Okay, and then there's other miscellaneous transactions that we have to account for. How much did you spend on that?
So that includes marketing fees that Etsy charges and transaction fees, and that was about $9.
And then you also had to pay for the cost of the box. So 6 boxes times 5, I think it was actually 5 units. How much was the total cost for that?
So that'd be about $30.
So in total for profit for the month of December, what was the total profit?
Just under $100 is around $97.
And one cool thing is you did this without spending any money on like Etsy ads or really any promotion or marketing.
Yeah, nothing at all. So Etsy has their own marketing that they charge you for, but again, it's very little compared to what I pay on Amazon. And yeah, it ended up being a lot less work on my end just to simply put up a listing, and whatever orders come in, I have boxes at home and I can fulfill them pretty easily.
So an extra $100 for the month of December isn't bad. That's an extra $100 to go out to dinner, have some fun.
Yes.
But let's compare that with the Amazon numbers, because in the month of December, you did over $5,000 in sales on Amazon. Now, of course, that's revenue and not profit. As we know with business, there's a lot of different costs and fees. So let's start with the cost of the products that you sold. You sold over 170 units. What was the total cost of those products?
So that cost was about $1,000.
And then on top of that, there is the FBA selling fee. So there's a flat 15% fee to sell on the Amazon platform. And how much did you spend in Amazon selling fees?
That's another $1,000.
Now, one of the benefits of selling on Amazon, especially if you're doing the FBA program, which allows you to be Prime eligible, is you have the ability to send your product into the Amazon warehouse, and when you get a sale, they pick, pack, and ship it out. Because I saw you a lot of times, you were going to the post office to send out product, which takes your time. The benefit of Amazon obviously is you don't have to deal with that because the products just get shipped out. But you do have to pay for that. So how much did you pay in Amazon FBA fees?
So that was about $770 around there.
And then there's another $39.99 a month just to have like a professional seller account with Amazon. But in total for the month of December, how much profit did you do?
So that was about $2,200.
So that's great. You did an extra $100 by setting up Etsy, but Amazon was a lot more in profit for you.
Yeah, definitely. And I figured that would be the case because Amazon they draw in so many customers.
It's huge.
Kind of do it for me in a lot of ways. So those costs are definitely worth it. Etsy I decided to try because a lot of people want to support smaller businesses and Etsy seems to be the platform for that. So if you want to reach out to those people, I would recommend just creating a listing and see what comes from it.
It's extra money. Why not do it? Now we are going to get into both of our biggest mistakes when it comes to selling on Etsy in just a minute. But let's talk about how you created this product for anybody that's new to the channel and doesn't know. How did you come up with this idea? What was the process like to get it set up? So what was the first step?
So the first step is coming up with an idea, so finding some product that you are passionate about. So Vino Cards came about wanting to learn more about wine personally, wanting to be a little more knowledgeable in that space to figure out what wines I actually like, and a lot of people seem to want that as well. So I made it easy in a flashcard form, easy way to learn about wine.
And then I know the next step for you is you set up an Instagram and people started following it and they started commenting on it and they were very interested. You had like a link in your bio saying, hey, sign up for the email list. And what you did is you launched it as a Kickstarter and you raised over $5,000. So this is a big point of this entire video. She raised $5,000 on Kickstarter before she spent any money on production. So if you're thinking about starting a unique product that you're gonna sell on Amazon or Etsy, why not do it as a Kickstarter first? So
yeah, and the way to actually have a successful Kickstarter is word of mouth. So trying to send it to friends and family, let them share it with their friends as well. And the way that we were able to do that successfully was with social media, Instagram, but also Facebook groups. So adding people there and keeping them updated on the process.
And then from there, I mean, it's a pretty simple process to get your product started. I know you worked with the designer a lot, then sent the designs over to a manufacturer in China, which you can find Chinese manufacturers very easily using sites like Alibaba.com. Literally just type in flashcards into the Alibaba search and contact all the suppliers. And then from there, you pretty much launched it on Amazon and started doing pretty well pretty quickly.
Yeah, all within the same year. And again, Amazon's a little bit more of a longer process to get approved and send in your product and all of that, but definitely worth it.
But in total, I mean, still, you ended up making over $50,000 in sales in the last 2 years, which is extremely impressive. Like, that's absolutely amazing. But let's get into the biggest mistakes we both made. So what was your biggest mistake?
So my biggest mistake was that I was focusing some time on Etsy, trying to get it running and get people to the site, wasn't focusing a lot on Amazon. And it was a big mistake, especially during that time of year. November, December is a highlight. For my product specifically, it is a great gift item. So I think if I would have spent more time with Amazon and really hammered down with that, because it's pretty automated already too, probably would have had more sales.
I honestly think she could have doubled her sales if she really would have focused on Amazon. And I think it's great that she added this extra channel of Etsy. You know, she did a lot last year. I'm actually really proud of everything she did last year. She started a YouTube channel for Vino Cards. She started doing wholesaling, contacting suppliers. She did Etsy, as we've talked about throughout this entire video. But I think a lot of times entrepreneurs are focusing on too many different things instead of really doubling down, doing the 80-20 and focusing on the thing that really works. And I still think she did great, like by trying out all these different avenues. And that kind of leads into my biggest mistake last year when it comes to working with Ariana with Etsy. And the truth is, last year, I think our working relationship has gotten a lot better because we're technically partners on the business, but I've learned to let go a lot more and just be like, you know what, you run with this, babe, like you do what you want to do. My biggest mistake, I think, though, was not realizing earlier what Ariana's superpower is. And I think this is a mistake a lot of people make when it comes to business. You think that everyone is good at the same things that you're good at. And Ariana and I are very, very different. I'm very much self-motivated, self-driven. I like to give myself tasks and get them accomplished and conquer them. Ariana, on the other hand, I think she works better when other people kind of give her some tasks and tell her, hey, can you get X, Y, and Z done?
Totally.
Yeah. And so because of that reason, Ariana was talking about maybe getting a part-time job, trying to make a little extra income. And I had a realization, you know what, why don't I hire you to do social media for me? So she's still gonna be working on her YouTube channel. She's still gonna be working a little bit on Etsy and Vino cards and doing all that kind of stuff, but she's gonna start helping me with my social media. And specifically, I'm gonna start posting a lot higher quality content on my Instagram and on TikTok. So you can follow me at Travis Marziani for both Instagram and TikTok, and comment on some of the Instagram posts and the TikToks and let us know how we're doing, because we're both pretty new to this social media thing when it comes to Instagram and TikTok, and please let me know how she's doing. So follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and you can also check out Ariana's product. I'll put a link down below. Thanks, and remember to enjoy the journey.